Every single time I record YouTube videos, every single time I stop. I'm recording on a Canon 70D at the moment, and every time I record and I stop recording, it says you talk too much. The unfortunate part of this story is that I didn't record it because I kind of couldn't. I got a legitimate knock, and behind that knock came police department. Like, what is happening? So, a little tiny bit of backstory was I was really tired that night. When was this? Wednesday or Thursday night. This is Sunday. It was Wednesday or Thursday night. I think I just fell into a depression because I said Sunday and work tomorrow and just instantaneous. I'm depressed on Friday. Friday to me is just an understanding that the weekend, really quick, Sunday night comes here and then bam, back to the, okay. Knocking on my window, my rear passenger window, as if they knew that's where I would be. Yeah, police department. I opened my curtain and cops standing there. So I said, 1 minute, and I'm yelling 1 minute. Now mind you, I fell asleep probably about 10:30, and I'm getting knocked at, I think, about 1:10, 1:15. So I scrambled to get dressed. I am just in daze because you're ripped out of sleep. I was already really, really tired, lack of sleep from 2 to 3 previous days prior. Lack of sleep, previous 47 years. I get ripped out of my sleep, and then I scramble to get dressed. I open the side door, and I step out to 3 cops and a big, flashlight, big bright light. And I'm like, oh wow, this is good, And as I'm looking, I'm seeing, okay, long story short, caution tape all over the park, and they're asking me about, so like somebody was shot right next to you. Literally about 20 feet from my van. So as I look out at him, like I'm sleeping in his lights and just chaos, right? Can you imagine? So, yeah, okay. So I step out here, they're at the back of the van, I leave the door open because I'm silly, and I'm talking, and wow, and in my head I'm thinking, okay, it's not me, like it's not me. And then the doors open, and there's a female officer, and I got guns sitting like right here on a rack. It's a little, I'll show you. And it's, and I'm like, no, and oh God. Never ever been like, it's never been a thing before. So, anyways, there's more to the story. This park is, I don't know, like a straight line, probably less than a mile from where I work, which is awesome. And I'm at work Friday, this past Friday, and I go to the office, and like whatever, office, how those fancy, and this ain't a fancy type place where there's a pool, there's a big, there's a gym that the residents can use during the day, like 8 to 5. And then there's a huge, couch and TV and fireplace and all that jazz. And then there's other rooms, and I have my own little office too. We'll talk about that later. And I got my own little office, and next to that is like a utility room, like storage with camera, monitor. I'm dropping stuff off into that room, and there's a guy there polo and I'm like thinking camera. I'm like, what are they doing with the cameras, And I see gun, but I didn't immediately say cop because it's where we live, it could be, I'm like, camera guy with the gun, all right, cool, whatever. No, it was a cop looking through video footage, and so we're talking about it, and he was telling me somebody got shot the other night at the park. He's like, yeah, and I'm like, ooh, wow. I was like, I was there. Like, they woke me up to, ask me if I seen anything. It was a hell of an experience, and I got a little gift. Look my face. Isn't that cool? Yeah. So I got my CCW, concealed carry, for people that don't know what that is. And for those of you that are like, oh my god, he's a gun person. Goodbye. Now with a CCW, I walk into a gun store and I'm like, hey, I want that. And like, cool, here you go. No background check, because I'm like VIP. I mean, finally, you know, something in life where it's like, he's good, yeah, cool. And the fact that I have it is amazing. But I did learn that things that happened 25, 26 years ago are fairly irrelevant. So it's the second time in 2 years, 8 months, 2-ish, whatever it's been, living in this van where somebody with a badge, actually, knocked on my door. The first time was in Florida at like a rest stop where people lived, and I thought that was amazing. And I just slept here at Lake Mead National Recreation. What's it called? Lake Mead National Recreation Area. I knew that. So I slept here tonight. But in Massachusetts, doing what I'm doing here, it's a whole nother video. Doing what I've been doing here in Vegas, like sleeping in a park, just a park. Since the day I arrived in February, I parked in that park in February. I don't know if it was my first night in that park. I don't really recall. It could have been the Orleans, but it's kind of funny, right? Because whole nother video, otherwise I'm gonna rant. So the police knocked, I step outside, I'm like, I don't know my name because I just got ripped out of sleep. Horrible, that's a horrible thing. You know, I've been telling people for years, don't wake me up. So I step outside, cops are there, lights all over me. I'm feeling quite nervous. They're telling me about somebody got shot next to me, did I hear anything? You know, the usual questions. I'm like, no, wow, that's, can I just go? And now, so I was taped off within, I mean, it's really bizarre, but at the same time, it's kind of funny because you got a shooting that just happened 20 feet from you and you're sleeping right through it. The entire park is taped off, caution tape, yellow tape, right? We all know what that is. And I'm in it, right? So they got it taped off like way down there from where I am and way down there. So in order for me to leave, and the greatest part, I used to say this to people, the greatest part is, the cop says to me, he says, if you don't mind, you know, sleeping over there, like pointing to that part of the park, if you don't mind sleeping over there tonight, that would be great. I was like, that's all I ever wanted when I was in Massachusetts, you know? I just want a cop to come up and like say, hey, you know, this spot's no good, but you're more than welcome to live right there. You can go live right there. Go park over there and live there. Cool, you know? It's all I ever wanted. I still struggle with that weird nervousness of, I don't know, should I stay here? Should I just leave? You know, Meanwhile, there's homeless people. They live. Like, that's their home right there in front of the store. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I should stay here, you know, because I need to sleep. I can't afford somebody being like, hey, you gotta leave, you know. So, with all that said, you might wonder why I park in such areas, and that's a whole nother video, because that is a damn topic. But besides all that, that was my week. Besides having to work was more miserable than having a shooting right next to me. I don't think the person died. That's it.